Now, this is my top 10 most disturbing, most shocking moments in R&B. And I say in R&B because most of the artists on this list have connections and ties to R&B music, even though they grew out of the R&B genre and crossed over into the pop world. So, stay tuned until the very end because my number one shocking moment might be a little surprising. So, if you disagree, if you like the list, drop me a comment below. Number 10, Left Eye burns down Andre Rison's house.
Was what you might call a firecracker. Lisa and Andre had a turbulent relationship that often turned violent. They first met in March 1993 at his birthday party. Andre tried to get Lisa to marry him that very night. She declined, but 2 months later, they were living together in Rison's $1 million Atlanta home. Cut to June 1994. After a heated argument, Lisa did the unthinkable. She locked herself in the bathroom. Then she started a fire and fled the scene.
Now, my number 9 moment is when TLC announced at the Grammy Awards that they were pretty much broke. After the chart-topping album Crazy Sexy Cool, one of their most successful albums, I mean, why would you believe or even think that this group was broke?
Well, I'll put it to you this way. We are the biggest selling female group ever. 10 million albums worldwide. We have worked very hard. We have been in this business for 5 years. And we are broke as broke can be.
In this clip, Left Eye breaks down how TLC went broke and how a group can pretty much make a successful album and end up making no money at all.
There are 100 points on the album. TLC had 7. Every point is equal to 8 cents. All right? 7 times 8, 56 cents. But as time went on, we learned a lot. That means every time an album gets sold, TLC gets 56 cents. So 10 million records, $5.6 million. Seems like a lot of money. Well, it's not a lot of money when the record company has spent $3 million to record your album. And in the record business, we pay all costs back to the record company. We pay recording costs, video costs. So now we have $2.6 million left. Well, guess what? When you have that much money, you're in about the 47, 48, 49% tax bracket. So that immediately gets deducted to $1.3 million. Then you split the rest 3 ways. You got about $300,000 apiece, if that much. Okay? $300,000. I can buy a nice house with that. And what am I going to pay my bills with?
You guys go on this huge tour.
Coming in at number 8, New Edition receives their first check for $1.87. Now, what I found pick was Rick James goes on a 6-day crack binge and kidnaps a girl and tortures her at that. Not just a kidnapping, but a straight torture. I had no idea this happened until I started researching these moments.
Kirkham with the latest from Los Angeles. But today, even those who emulate him can't help Rick James out of the jam he's currently facing. James is accused of assault with a deadly weapon, aggravated mayhem, torture, and forcible oral copulation. The singer has been in jail since last Friday, along with his girlfriend, Tanya Ann Hijazi. Both arrested 2 weeks after an unidentified woman went to authorities with her story. According to police, the 25-year-old alleged victim claims she met Rick James and his female companion at a party. She says the trio then returned here to James' Hollywood home. It was on the nights of July 16th and 17th that alleged victim claims she became a virtual prisoner here, held at gunpoint, even tied up and tortured, she claims, by being burnt with the hot end of a crack cocaine pipe.
6, if any of you guys were around during this time, there was a lot of allegations and speculations as to what was going on between Aaliyah and R. Kelly. But at number 6, I put this moment, the allegations of R. Kelly and Aaliyah being married.
I got you on real quick. I know we gotta you know about all the rumors about you being married and stuff like that. Was there any truth to that?
Man, you are so late.
I know, but you know what it is? It's like, I just had to ask it though.
Nah, because like the fans, they know. You know what I mean? Like my fans love you. Thank you for supporting.
They denied it for a long time, but as we will find out later that the allegations were true.
I'm wondering about you. Do you like teenage girls?
When you say teenage, how are we talking?
Girls who are teenagers.
19?
So right now in 2022, evidence came out from that time frame that R. Kelly basically bribed a state worker to forge documents so that he was able to marry Aaliyah. The charges marked the first time that Kelly's brief marriage to Aaliyah had been connected to any criminal cases against Kelly.
Did you really
So
know?
my number
No, you
5
know.
moment
Thank you.
definitely has to be Whitney Houston's
Anorexia,
first allegations
way.
of
They've
drug
written it.
abuse.
No
She
way.
denied it.
bulimia. No way. That it's because of drugs? No. Whitney dying. Crack rehab fails.
First of all, let's get one thing straight. Crack is cheap. I make too much money to ever smoke crack. Let's get that straight, okay? We don't do crack. We don't do that. Crack is whack.
As far as you stand with drug use, is there drug use going on at this present time?
Who are you talking to?
To you, Whitney. You.
No, you're not talking to me. I'm a mother. Only my mother has privy to that information. You talk to your child about that. Don't ask me no questions like I'm a child. You talk to your baby about her, what she gonna be confronting and what she got to deal with.
And you on Diane Sawyer also mentioned that you'd want to see receipts behind the drug use. Which,
Man, if I spent that much money, somebody better give me some receipts so I get a tax return.
Well,
my number 4 moment, I wasn't born or around at this time, but number 4 is still pretty shocking that a star like Marvin Gaye would be murdered by his father.
After a particularly slow period, legendary soulman Marvin Gaye was on track for a huge comeback in early 1982. Then, on April 1st, 1984, Marvin got in the middle of a spat between his mother and father.
Argument turned physical. Mother interceded and separated them. Moments later, the father reappeared. He had a handgun with him. He fired 2 shots, fatally wounding Marvin Gaye.
It was April Fool's Day. So people didn't want to believe it. It was such an insane idea that Marvin Gaye's dead. Marvin Gaye's been shot by his father. There's no way.
Fans this afternoon who passed the family home where it happened played his music and prayed for the soul from which it came.
Coming in at number 3, the murder of Sam Cooke. I'm still doing my research, but as I've learned so far, this was a shocking murder because at the time of his death, Sam Cooke was on the verge of becoming a huge crossover star. He had already had hits that were rivaling Elvis Presley at the time, and in the late 50s, early 60s, Sam Cooke was getting ready to, become a huge breakout star. And also he was making music about the civil rights movement. He became friends with Muhammad Ali. If you've seen the movie One Night in Miami, it kind of talks about his relationship with early civil rights leaders. And he was a powerful voice in the black community during the early 60s. But his murder was kind of baffling because there were so many theories surrounding his murder. A lot of people thought that he may have been murdered because he talked about owning your music and definitely shaking up the music industry, and that was one thing they didn't want, was for a black man, especially like Sam Cooke with his voice, to kind of start owning things and taking more control of his creation. Here's a clip of Sam talking about what he wants to do in the future, and just talking to Dick Clark on the Dick Clark Show.
How many songs have you written?
Dick, I don't know, but I've written just about all I've sang.
Which is several hundred?
Well, I can estimate this way. I've been in the business now, Dick, for about 6 years, and I haven't had a song that wasn't a hit, so I was on the charts, I think, from the time I started until now.
This is an amazing record. Now, Sam, most people don't get to do this. What's the answer? Now, here's a man whose career so far is about 6 years old in this field, not counting what went on before. What's the secret?
I think the secret is really observation, Dick.
What do you mean?
Well, if you observe what's going on and try to figure out how people are thinking and determine the times of your day, I think you can always write something that the people will understand.
Now, this might surprise you, but I put Michael Jackson's death at number 2.
But what surprising details came out during his autopsy report? And could someone else have been involved in his death? Keep watching to find out. World-famous pop icon Michael Jackson was declared dead on June 25, 2009. He stopped breathing after his personal doctor, Conrad Murray, administered the intravenous drug propofol to the star at his rented Bel Air home in California. The death of the
Michael doing his farewell tour. We had no idea the extent and the drug usage.
And CBS News are both now reporting that Michael Jackson has died.
The drug became a tool that Jackson sometimes used when he couldn't sleep but needed to be able to perform. Such was the situation when Jackson called Murray at about 1 a.m. on June 25th, complaining of dehydration and insomnia. Murray showed up and administered the drug, but things went awry, and Jackson's autopsy later explained why. According to the report, Jackson was relatively healthy with no history of heart disease. At about 5'7" in height, Jackson only weighed 136 pounds when he died. He had many scars on his body.
Now, before I get into my number 1 moment, don't forget to, of course, subscribe, hit the like button, and of course, see me down in the comments. Let me know if you agree with this list, if you think it's trash, or if you think I just completely forgot something. Let me know in the comments. Now, let's get into the number 1 shocking moment in R&B history. Coming in at number 1, the Surviving R. Kelly series. Man, this series, hands down, during a time when nobody stops to watch TV, everybody's on, Instagram or watching Netflix. This series alone made everybody stop for a minute and just tune in to every episode. Every episode, we learned something new about R. Kelly. We learned something about his past. We learned that he had women locked up. He was feeding them sandwiches. We learned how he falsified documents to marry Aaliyah. I mean, it was, the stories coming out of every episode was just crazy. Social media was on fire during this time. This was pre-pandemic. They followed up with a second set of stories, or a second documentary series after this one. I really didn't tune into that one. I just couldn't see more destruction from R. Kelly. But this first documentary was just crazy. So I think this documentary led to R. Kelly being sentenced for 30 years. They used a lot of the testimony and footage from this documentary probably in that case. But no other documentary has really impacted a artist's real life more than I think this documentary here. So if you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. If you have seen it, you probably don't want to hear anything else about R. Kelly at this point, but this was my number 1 shocking, most disturbing moment in R&B and music history. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave me a comment. Let me know what you thought about this list. Let me know if you think I left something off, or let me know if, this list was just straight trash. I want to hear about it. So see you on the next video.